Okay, everybody. Hey, how are you guys? I am live tonight with, my dear friend Jake Urban, who has had quite a week. And so he's going to share a little bit about his story with you guys. I will tell you his mom is sitting there with him as well. And she's a very dear friend of mine. And Jake, she started talking to me when you started coming down with the symptoms. So I'm not going to go through the story because I know you have your own firsthand experience. So I'd love to kind of hear, how did it start? How did you get it? And I'm just going to interject questions as we go along. Is that cool?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. How did it all start?
So, hi guys, my name is Jake. I live in New Jersey, but I go to college in Boston. And they sent us all home from school because of this coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. And nobody really knew how bad it actually was at the time. So I came home right before my spring break, and I was home for about a week before having any sort of symptoms. I did have, a little bit of fatigue and some aches and pains, which I blamed on, the house being cold. Didn't really think anything of it. And then about Sunday night, about dinner time, the 22nd, I believe, I, started complaining about, some more symptoms. I ended up having a fever, started with the fever, and then had a very restless night's sleep. Woke up starting having a lot more intense aches and pains. The fatigue was bad. I was starting to have some throat. It wasn't a cough. I never actually developed a whooping cough or anything like that, but definitely was having tightness in the chest. Actually tried to work out one day, which was not really a good idea. It just was not normal.
Okay, let me interrupt for a second. So when do you, because I was trying to get this timeline from your mom when she started telling me about your symptoms. So I was trying to figure out, because I know there's people on here, it's supposedly doubling every 3 days or whatever. There's people on here who are like, oh my gosh, my cousin has it. I was in contact. When did it start? So for your best guess, like how long before you started to feel the symptoms do you think you had it? Because I was trying to calculate that when I was talking to your mom. What would you guess?
I probably say I got it sometime the weekend before, like probably a full week before I started actually having symptoms. Around the time that I moved out. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
a full 7 days.
because there were kids at my school and even teachers who were exposed to it, that I was around, but I was home basically quarantined already for a full 7 days before any serious symptoms started even showing up.
Okay, and so for those that are just jumping on, it started with, I feel like your mom said you started having stomach issues to start. Was that one of the first symptoms for you?
No, the first thing was definitely the fever. I didn't honestly even personally feel like I had a fever, but my mom definitely wanted to check. And so we took out the little thermometer
Every 4 hours.
And yeah, basically every 4 hours it felt like that we checked my temperature, and lo and behold, it was, a low grade fever in the low hundreds.
And what was the highest that it went?
Yeah, just about 103.
Yeah. And it was pretty constant, right? For about 5 days from the day it started to the next 5 days, it was pretty constant.
Yeah, it was pretty constant. I took a little bit of Tylenol just to keep the fever at bay. Through the process, especially to help me sleep as well.
What would you say is the worst thing about the 5-day experience that you had? Like, what was the worst thing about all of it?
Honestly, probably the temperature fluctuations with the stomach pain.
That started Wednesday.
Which the stomach pain did start around Wednesday. It got pretty bad. I mean, yeah, just figuring out like how to deal with the fever, because I would go from having, slight chills to then, burning up. It never got like out of control but it was definitely like something that I could not continue my normal daily activities.
What about like sore throat, runny nose? Did you have all that stuff going on?
Never had a runny nose, never was congested. The only reason I ever would have any like upper stuff was if I got a little lightheaded, if I wasn't, flooding myself with fluids, and it was kind of hard to eat sometimes, but we had, whatever I could get inside me was good. So a chicken nugget here, or a waffle, or a bagel. Fruit was a big lifesaver, because raspberries and blueberries and stuff like that were quick and I could pop in. They were tasty.
Do you have a headache?
Never had a headache. No.
So for those of you just joining, there's a lot of people watching. For those of you just joining, there was a little tightness in your chest. Not lots of coughing, you wouldn't say?
No. The only really thing that I did was clear my throat. I only really had soreness in my throats one of the nights a lot later on in the whole process, but that didn't really even continue at all.
So we're going to go kind of through what Jake and his mom did while let's talk about you getting tested and how long that took for you to get the diagnosis, and why we thought you had it, because we know there were people that were close to you that were diagnosed with it. So let's go through that a little bit. You started with the fever, and then how long after that till you guys went in and tried to get tested? I feel like you went in more than once.
Yeah. So it started Sunday night, and we decided to go into the doctor on Tuesday. I went into the doctor. They evaluated me. They said, because the biggest thing is that I wasn't coughing, and because I was low risk technically, that they didn't feel the need to test me. But because I was in Boston, and because I was around all these people who were presumptive positive, they said they would test me if I wanted to, and if my symptoms got any worse. So the next day, on Wednesday, we actually went back and got tested.
So we tested Wednesday, and then you found out this morning, right?
Yeah, this morning I got a call from the doctor.
5 days later. And then when did your fever? So your fever started Saturday night. When did your fever break?
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Friday night.
Okay, so 5 days. I remember, so for those of you watching that don't know, I'm a physician assistant, and I'm no longer practicing medicine. I let my license go earlier this year, but I practiced for 20 years, and I was doing an extensive amount of research on this. So of course, Jake's mom was calling me through this whole process and concerned about what to do. And so I remember texting his mom at one point and saying, worst case scenario, this will go on till April 9th. Because I was reading that people 23 to 25 days after they get in contact with the virus is when it's finally out of their system. Then lo and behold, like yours breaks after 5 days. And to me, that was crazy. So, kind of we were thinking, well, then maybe he didn't have it, because everybody else seems to have it a really long time. And then your results came in positive this morning. Well, I am so thankful that you are fine and good, and we didn't have to wait until April 9th. I have a picture that I was going to share, but I'm not going to share it, but I might post it later, of your mom wheeled you out onto the front deck for you to get a little sun, and you're all huddled up in the chair, trying to get a little sun up in New Jersey. And so that was a pitiful picture, and I'm so glad to see you happy and smiling and sharing your story, because again, the whole reason that we wanted to get on here today was to give people hope who maybe have recently been diagnosed, or who have been tested and think they might have it, or maybe they've been in contact with somebody who does have it. And then also to kind of give them a game plan of exactly what you guys did, so that and maybe even what they can expect. Obviously, some people have different symptoms than what you've had, but you were definitely positive, and you ran the course in 5 days, and now you feel normal again?
Yeah, I feel as normal as I probably possibly can at this point. There's obviously still coming out of it, so the respiratory stuff is gonna take a little bit longer to fully heal, where I can take
Still taking everything.
yeah, we're still taking everything. We're still doubled up. But I am a singer and I know my deep lungs. So but other than that, I haven't had a fever in a while. I am not coughing. Uh I feel fine. Am I gonna go on a run? No. I'm gonna, we're still quarantined in our house here. But
Anything you would like to say maybe to someone who is terrified right now that they might have it? Any last words that you could give them that would help them kind of get through the next week or two?
I would say it's all a mind game too. You have to think and you have to want to get better, and it will happen. Just stay strong. Take care of yourself. I'm very happy that I had my mom here to help me through it. I wouldn't, be able to have done it without her. She was very supportive. Very helpful with getting everything organized for me to take. You can do it. It's okay. You'll get through it. Stay hydrated. Eat as much as you can in small increments. Like stay small, eating and drinking throughout the day. I think that was the most important thing for me. If you let it get away from you, you'll just make yourself feel worse. So
Thank you, Jake. You're
no
amazing. I'm so glad that you're feeling better.